Welcome to the regular briefing session of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. We have a number of items to discuss today, and we'll begin by turning the meeting over to our Vice Chairman, Don Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to brief for this is a review of our briefing for next week for the meeting on November the 10th. And the county manager will go over the items. We do have one discussion item, which is a November 17th briefing date change because of a conflict with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. We will do that first, and we can do that right now, I guess. So it's a Dudley and Ashley issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, we are going into what is essentially the last two meetings with the current board as it sits, and then going into an organizational meeting on December 5th. And so we have a lot to do at a meeting on November 10th, and then December 1st is that other opportunity. And the goal, I think, as I've heard it verbalized by you and also at the staff level, was to try to get as much of the kind of closed, the old business done as we can. And there is a lot that is happening in that period, and it includes the audit committee actually heard from our CFO this morning at lunch in a meeting. It does appear we're going to be in a place to take action in that period on PAYGO, because we've got some idea about where the financials lie. And so that will take a bit of time. And then we also, as you've seen, have a lot of other open business before the board between now and then. And so, the normal meeting schedule would be in November 10th, we will have a meeting, and it would be a first briefing. And that first briefing would be for that December 1st meeting. There's no really time for a second briefing, because the 17th you're going to be in the legislative conference, and the 24th will be Thanksgiving. And so Ashley and I talked about a couple of opportunities. One would be we could meet in on a Tuesday if you wanted to. And obviously the opportunities there would be, would you want to do it on the 15th or 22nd? Because of the volume of stuff that we have in front of us, it's going to take some staff time to get all that done, obviously. And the later it is would be better. So I think our preference at the staff level would be the 22nd, just so that we would offer back to department managers a little bit of grace and mercy on that.
That 22nd of November?
Yes.
Is that Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is the 24th, and so we would be talking about that Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And so those are the two sort of second briefing options. I didn't say that right, did I?
No, you said that correctly.
You're right.
So what we're presenting to you to change the November 17th briefing is to either move it back 2 days to November 15th, or move it to the next week, which is the week of Thanksgiving, on November 22nd.
The other feature there is we actually had scheduled for the 17th one of those AM sessions, those morning sessions. And so it's sort of a two-part decision. When do you want to have the meeting, and do you want to include a morning session?
You know those dates, when you get into the 13th, 14th, and 15th of November, mm-hmm. I have a meeting with Novant. I have a meeting in Raleigh. Novant's in Charlotte. A Raleigh meeting is the NCACC. I've got a YMCA board meeting, I think the 15th. Altogether, I've got about 5 meetings on those 2 days, which means I can't do all of it. So I don't know what I can do.
Yeah, so if we went to the 22nd, really the complexity there is just have people already made plans to that week for Thanksgiving.
I will be out of town the 22nd, but I'm just one, so that's fine.
Yeah. Well.
I'm fine, go,
Could we do a morning session on the 22nd, then do a regular session in the afternoon?
Well, or we could just defer the morning session and just not do that. And we've actually pulled some items off of that. I mean, I could fill up a morning session because there's that much to talk about. But what the other part of that, we could just go long in the afternoon and just know we will be here for a bit. I mean, and we're stuck on the 22nd, but I don't know if
Can you do the 14th?
I can do anytime you want to do it.
No,
So
I mean staff-wise.
staff-wise, we could do the 14th as well.
We can make that happen. We just need a little bit of time to prepare to make sure we get it in time.
How about commissioners? Alex?
Everything I have is centered around November 13th to the 15th, when the 15th is finished. And part of the problem is, two meetings are here, one meeting is in Raleigh, another meeting is in Charlotte. I'm not really sure I can do all of that and make it work. Because one's in the morning, one's in the afternoon.
So
How
do you have
fast?
a meeting on the 14th?
I've got three meetings on the 14th, yeah.
This is going to sound crazy, but how about a Friday, the 18th?
Can do Friday.
Yeah, suits me.
Same.
That'll really fill up November, but what the heck?
18th
Is
is
the
fine. with
legislative
me.
goals conference going on all day that day?
That's correct. The 18th is
yeah,
not going to
that's
work.
I was thinking it
What's
was
that?
finishing up Thursday, I'm sorry.
Darn it.
There's not a lot of easy answers here.
But I could probably do most, but we're missing both Ted and County Commissioner Kaplan and McDaniel, and that'd be kind of key. I mean, you've got to, I'm pretty flexible. I could probably do, and it sounds like 14's out for Dave, but I could do the 21 or 22. We're leaving that evening on the 22, I think. So I'm probably okay. 21 or 22, and I could do 14.
Yeah, 21, 22 would work for me, Don, but 12, 13, 14, 15, I'm out of it.
21 will work for me, yeah.
And I mean, it's a briefing session, so it'll be, if you could participate remotely, perhaps?
Try.
Yeah, I mean-
Go for the 21st. It doesn't matter to me. I'll be out of town that whole week. But
So the
it's
21st,
like that's the best for everybody else.
21st is a Monday, the 22nd is a Tuesday.
That works.
Okay.
For me.
And a little bit of grace and mercy, as far as I'm going to do my best to do an introduction on the 10th of what we think we have on that agenda. We are going to give a little bit of flexibility to push back. See, we would normally say to staff, you got to have everything in by November 4th, which is for the December 1st meeting. And so we're going to give them a little bit of grace in there if we're going to meet on the 21st. But because that does give us another week at the staff level to get things ironed out. And we'll be very cautious about, we'll let you know if something comes in between the 10th and that we try to talk for the first time on the 21st.
Commissioner,
Make sure that we abide by our policy. So, but it is an unusual time because there'll be some pressure on the close, trying to close out old business. And we've just got a lot of things going on. We got the Blues Lake project coming in. There's just a lot of things that I know, frankly, the sitting board has a lot invested in, and so we want to honor that as well. And then also that December 1st will be, honoring Commissioner Elamine and Commissioner
We've talked
Kaplan.
about some pretty heavy stuff with all our meetings, but Commissioner Elamine and I were discussing before we started this session. Was it last year the last 2 years we've had a kind of a holiday meeting in December? Was that,
And with Paul.
sir?
There's always the Christmas event, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
At
scheduled?
Tanglewood,
Yeah, Tanglewood.
yeah.
Yep, very good.
The plan for this year?
I think it is, yeah.
Yes, that's the same plan.
Yep. Good plan.
And another tragedy happened December 7th, 1938.
You were born.
I was born. The Japanese really liked it. They bombed Pearl Harbor.
That's what I was thinking.
So we're 21st we decided.
21st.
Yeah, so it'd be a Monday, 2:00
Okay, can handle that.
session. And that would be
Good
a
for you.
second briefing, so you'll be getting a lot of information from staff. in that time period. And again, it'll be a briefing, but, so if you can participate remotely, that'll be great. All right.
Mr. Lemon, is that okay with you, 21st?
Sir,
Is that okay with you, the 21st?
y'all just let me know what you decide, and
Okay.
I'll try to make it work out.
All right. So thank you very much. It is a busy time, but it's an exciting time because there's a lot of really, just a lot of activity. So, and you'll see that because we've got a 28-item agenda that you'll be, that I'm just going to do the normal, really quick introduction on, and so, and give you a real high-level review, and then we'll dive into these items next
Do you
week.
have any ribbon-cutting date for the new courthouse? Roughly
That's a
speaking?
Damon Sanders Pratt,
We don't have a ribbon cutting date, but we're aiming for spring that construction will be done, and then hopefully be in it by early fall, to have the move done.
yeah, so a lot of capital projects, so there'll be some groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings and a lot of things going on, so. All right, and so the only other item I have today is just, I'll do a quick high-level overview of the agenda items, and then I do have a closed session motion on an economic development matter, which is not the economic development matter that's actually on the agenda here, right? And so, and so generally what we do is, for everything before it comes to me, before the business items, we always brief in the first briefing in full. So planning items and then economic development items. And just so y'all know my other practice, if there is an agenda item that I think is going to be controversial that that I need to dive into pretty much detail, I'll occasionally pull those into and brief them in full the first time. So that is the case with this economic development project. So I'll turn it over to Kyle.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I will be brief. Once again, because this is the first briefing, we will just be using the code name. So I'll give a little bit of information, and then we'll get the full presentation at the meeting. So this is an economic development incentive for the recruitment of a manufacturing company. The manufacturing company works in manufacturing medical packaging, and then the incentive would be a 5-year 50%. Which equates to $196,208, and that would be based off of $20.3 million in capital investment, as well as the creation of 79 new full-time jobs in the area with an average wage of $49,000. Once again, I'll provide the name of the company and the full presentation at the meeting. Happy to answer any questions.
Do they make television sets, washing machines, or radios?
No, none of those. No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. There is a special resolution that we can talk a little bit more about next Thursday. It's recognized November 2022 as Adoption Awareness Month in Forsyth County. You've got minutes that will be forthcoming as soon as we can get those done. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 budget finance items. You've got an amendment to the fiscal year 2023 budget. It appropriates those dollars that you authorize us to, and actually with Kyle's involvement, that building reuse grant for the community and economic development to benefit Cath Tech and Frank L. Bloom Construction. So that has been done, and you'll get that budget ordinance amendments out there. You've got a 2019 housing grant project ordinance to appropriate additional home program income. That's where we undertake some activities, program incomes comes in, and then we need to appropriate that because that's, at that point, you know how much you brought in. You got an amendment to a lot of stuff coming at you to Blues Lake, and a lot of it kind of in anticipation of the GMP that Damon is busily working on right now. They've been in negotiation trying to iron all that out. We're trying to get it in budget and get a project in front of you that you'll be really proud of. This particular item appropriates some funding allocated in the state budget, the $3 million to that project, and so you'll see that. You've got an amendment to the 23 budget, appropriate revenue from the Center for Health Promotion and Disease Prevention for public health participation in Med-South lifestyle study. And so there's that. You just took action to apply for the ROAP money, and so this item 8 is actually an agenda item to appropriate those dollars. You got a resolution authorizing participation by Forsyth County, the Environmental Assistance and Protection Program. They collect fees and for the air quality permits, And to the extent those aren't paid, you'll essentially be authorizing the department to join in that debt set-off program as a way to recover those dollars. You've got one grants item. It's an application to the Division of Aviation for an aircraft south ramp parking improvements. We just talked about that in some detail. The next 6 items are ARPA funding, and this is where I think I said to you that expect us to move faster on these applications this go round, because frankly we had lessons from round 1, and so you see 6 of those where we're moving those projects forward and trying to get those out there as quickly as possible. And you'll see in the December 1st meeting, I think you'll see some more of those. So hats off to the budget office and our Aisha, our ARPA administrator, and really a number of staff throughout a lot of departments that's making that happen. You got some contractual matters. You've got some more temporary staffing services for public health. We're just having, Chantel can tell you, we're having to do whatever we can do to get staffing and get that clinic staffing and what have you. Purchase of pharmaceuticals from Cardinal Health, we rely on the state contract pricing for that because of the complexity, frankly. You've got a resolution authorizing execution agreement this is the DSS kind of performance agreement we've got with the state of North Carolina. One thing about that performance agreement is it had really clear metrics around what we've got to hit and what have you, and so this is that agreement. You've got purchase of medical supplies also for emergency services. You got a cyber issue around MFA security subscription services for our systems, and then a contract that John Burgess has been working on around that MRIM foreclosure program. I am really proud of, and I know he is, of what he's managed to do that's going to make a difference in this community around that. Item 23, you got a contract to purchase real property at 7212 Doral Drive. Kirby Robinson's been working with the owner there. That's another parcel where that project's really integral to the Multipurpose Ag Center project, which you will also see at that December 1st meeting as well. We're moving towards a project with there. You got an interlocal agreement with the Board of Education for co-location of maintenance services. That's something we've been working a long time. Kirby's been working with his counterparts over at the school system around that. So you've got that one, and then you've also got the lease of the property at 3810 Liberty that y'all bought quite some time ago. The schools had been in discussion, and they've got a strategy of how this is everything that gets moved over from Lansing after the Garner Foods thing. I got a contract for Bryce Bryan for professional legal services on some property matters that y'all have dealt with. And then you've got the Piedmont Flight Training Agreements, item 27 on that. And then you've got the August, September contribution-based benefit cap report. So a busy meeting next Thursday, a busy November 10th, and then we are in full high gear to try to get as much as we can that we've been working on in front of you December the 1st, and we sure do appreciate it. So that is it. The only other item I have is closed session. Anything else?
Is that it?
Okay. Need to ask the board to consider a motion to go into closed session to discuss a matter relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body, including agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiations pursuant to the provisions of General Statute 143, 31811A4. Since there's no other business to come before the board at this meeting, following the closed session meeting will be adjourned.
I'll make that motion.
Is that motion to adjourn?
No. All right. Motion to go to closed session.
I think we'll be in the large conference room. So.
All righty, we're done.